Eden Kaz here with Just Be, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the Just Be practice to do just that. And as we begin the show, just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a soul realignment specialist, meditation master, and dimensional healer. Learn more, and there's merch also at EdenJustBe.com. Let's get this party started. Okay, I have to take just a moment to breathe before we begin because I am so grateful today to have my regulars back who have been through some really interesting travels, and now they are here. So, hey, this is Eden, Just Be Spiritual Boom, in association with the Grassroots Warrior Network, my only recurring guest, and it's so good to see you because we're on episode 200, so I have to do yip to that. Last time I saw you guys was episode 162, so it's been a while, and as we talked about, I consider you guys such dear comrades and friends because I know you are about the truth. And we talked about this off air. I have a lot of people that come on the show who are about the truth, but it's always to certain degrees, or but y'all are 100%, 100 degree. I trust you guys completely. So we talked today, potentially we're going to talk about spiritual paradigms really shifting, and we're going to go into some depth of things. So there may be some things you're like, no way, is this possible? Yes, it's all possible, and it's all happening right now. So welcome back, Pia and Cullen. Why don't y'all say hello? Because I'm just talking. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
We are so happy to be back on your show. It's been a long time, and we have been traveling and making changes, moving, and this is absolutely a welcoming home for us. So thank you for inviting us back.
Yay, you're welcome. Okay, and now you're in the U.S., so you're located in Sedona now.
Yes.
Okay, so interstellar, star, galactic communicators, and we'll potentially end with additional words of enlightenment and pump up from the Pleiadian group they connect with, Laarkmaa. All right, couple things real quick before we begin. I just wanted to give a nod to giving 12% off Hygge products for the holidays if you use my link, which I'll post down in the comments. I have their red light therapy. I have grounding pillowcase, grounding mat. I love their products. The only thing that I haven't got are some of their EMF clothing. So if anybody gets some of that, let me know. Two other things. Zoom class. I talked to Pia and Cullen about this a little bit because we haven't talked in a long time. So I'm in a divine relationship now. Been in it now for 8.5 months. So I'm going to do a class sometime in December. I'm not sure about that yet in terms of steps to procure that, in terms of what it looks like. And I told y'all too, it is not easy because what I'm working on is also the wounds of the masculine, helping prepare or make those better. So I'm definitely doing this relationship for myself, but yet I'm doing it for the world too. So there are times when I just want to be done, but yet I continue to step up because it's so important, and he's important as well. So if you are interested, and there's some other qualifications, Eden at EdenJustBe.com. Let me know. Finally, episode 188, and this happened after you guys too. So gold IRA scams, I was involved in one. So if you have any concern that you might be, there are a lot of big companies out there that are just not trustworthy, reliable. So Kevin with Miles Franklin helped me for 2 months without any expectation of monetary gain of anything. So I did end up investing with Miles Franklin because it just felt really good. Yet they are doing this out of their heart. They don't care about any repercussions coming back to them. So if you are concerned that you might be involved in something like this, so info@milesfranklin.com, put Eden in the subject line because they know me personally. They will assist you. I think they are fabulous. Should I read y'all's bio now? Is it time?
Sure.
Okay. And this is, yeah, if you want to add anything into it, because this is what I've said in the past. So, husband and wife, PhDs, Pia Smith, Orleane, and Cullen Baird Smith, communicators to the stars, and otherworldly beings like Pan's kingdom, fairies, and angels. They are writers, right? They are writers, blah, writers, visionaries, intuitives. Pia being a former psychologist, and Cullen being trained in anthropology and archaeology. Together, it has to be both of them. They bring planetary wisdom from the stars from a group of Pleiadian light beings known as Laarkmaa. They have offered decades of extraordinary work and commitment to the earth and humanity, and they are not stopping. And we'll talk about this probably towards the end. They are part of the lineup for a Sedona Ascension Retreat, March 20th through 22nd of 2026.
So, Eden, the only
Yes.
thing that I would add for your guests about your wonderful introduction
Thank
is
you.
that we also do Pleiadian Earth Energy Astrology to help
Mhm.
people discover what their own energy is, what their karmic patterns are, what their karmic gifts are, what their shadows are, how to move forward and connect with the energies that are coming in. So that's another thing that is part of what we do. And that's on our websites. You can find all of the information of everything we do on both of our websites.
Yes, and all of that will also be listed in show notes as well. So all the different ways to contact them. All right, I want to, before we begin going into that, because we want to talk today about astrology and some of the again the spiritual paradigms that are no longer to be in existence, that they're breaking apart. Yeah, I do want to discuss Three Eye Atlas momentarily. Some people still don't know about it. So I'm going to read a little bit. Three Atlas is an interstellar comet. They call it a comet, but it's not really a comet. It does not display the traditional traits of a comet. It was first seen July 2025. Okay, get this. Again, talking about fear. By the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System Station. The comet follows an unbound hyperbolic trajectory past the sun. It will not be closer than 1.8 AU from the Earth, so it poses no threat. The prefix 3I designates it's the third confirmed interstellar object passing through the solar system. Supposedly, as of now, it will be closest to the Earth on December 19th. So I personally connected to the energy of it this weekend. I just want to express, to me, stupendous, beautiful, wonderful, wonderful. So I really want to express no fear with this coming through, and also to bring a nod to Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam is a conspiracy theory proposed by Canadian journalist, I may say his name incorrectly, Sergei Monast, claiming that the global elites plan to stage a fake supernatural event or alien invasion using advanced holographic technology to establish a man, am I speaking today? I can't even say that right. Help me out.
Totalitarian.
Thank you.
Totalitarian.
Thank you. World government. Theory suggests that this would involve manipulating people's beliefs and creating a new world religion. So I just want to put out there, I would encourage no fear with a comet. I think it's going to be beautiful, and I've heard lots of speculation that this may be a great window for Project Bluebeam to come about, knowing they have so much technology to make things that are not real feel real. So I would suggest no fear, excitement, beauty. Do y'all have anything you want to add to that before we continue?
Well, one thing I want to say, do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
One thing I want to say is I find it auspicious that it's coming on to the closest on December the 19th, which is just before solstice. And when is it that we need the most light? At the time of solstice. I think that is aligned on purpose. And I feel that the energy coming from this, whatever it is absolutely positive. It's one of the waves of uplifting energy that's coming towards us.
I would certainly agree with that. And I would like to add also that the whole notion of beings from what we call outer space that either want to enslave us, eat us, kill us,
Yes.
hurt us is so absurd. The stories from the 1950s sci-fi movies that tried to scare everybody in the world about all of these beings that are going to come and do all these terrible things to us. Pia and I have worked with interstellar beings now for decades. We talk to, we partner with, we have colleagues, we have friends from so many different star systems. All of these beings are absolutely from love and light. They are respectful, considerate, wise. Their only mission, their only interest is to help us evolve. Their only their only way of being here, helping us, is through love. So all of these absurd stories of fear mongering that we have to be afraid that ETs, and believe me, they do not like the designation ET. They think that's very disrespectful. All of these light beings from so many corners of the universe, multiverse, other galaxies, they are only here to support us. They are only here to help us. So I think we need to be very wary about stories, whether they're government begun or other organizations that are saying, look out, be careful, watch out. None of this is true. None of this is going to happen. There is not going to be an invasion. The only invasion is going to happen through heart energy and love. That's it.
That will be a really nice invasion. And then to add on to that, Colin, also pretty much every movie that we've seen except for E.T. And Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I can't think of any others, are about killing, about being invaded, about it being horrible. So there's so much programming put out there that whatever else is in the galaxy, it's bad, it's here to harm you. So we are here today to basically say no, not to say that everything's good yet. Yeah, what were you going to
Can
say, Pia?
I add to that?
Yes, please.
About movies, bear in mind also that we've been inundated with the idea that artificial intelligence is our friend. Look at movies like Chappie. Look at R2D2 in Star Wars. Look at all the movies as far back as you want to go, even Data on Star Trek. They're all trying to get us to say, oh, but look, they're so like humans, when they are not. They can imitate, replicate their imitative feelings, but they cannot actually feel it because they don't have heart. So part of what's happening on this planet right now is what Laarkmaa has termed the Great Split. The Great Split between those who are on the path of ascension and light, biological beings who are becoming cosmic citizens, and those who have chosen to go the path of artificial technology, removing themselves from nature, some even aligning with it to the point where they have implants in their brain of technological things. That's part of the great split that's happening, and it's accelerating on the planet.
Well, and also hearing more people talk about using AI. People have relationships now, boyfriend, girlfriend with AI, and these were in the movies as well, using them in terms of therapy, in terms of counseling. So I'm curious with you guys. For me, I am at this, and this feels for me the way to go. I am really stepping away from any of that. Not to say there isn't good, and you can also ask, hey, whatever's going to show up, show me, just bring the highest good to me. I just feel for me, it's not where I need to be at this point. How do y'all feel for yourselves?
Well, go ahead.
It's a case of what I would call runaway science. Um, science has become this incredible godlike entity where scientists, even if their intellect and their heart believes that they're moving towards a technology that's helpful, this what I call runaway technology and science, to me, is replicating what happened in Atlantis when science became so powerful, so omnipotent, that it decided it could do anything it wanted to do. And obviously, just in Atlantis, not even talking about other technological societies that have appeared on this planet before Atlantis and after Atlantis, these societies have run amok with doing anything they believe is moving towards a higher and higher understanding of technology. And many of the things that have been invented obviously are dangerous, and yet there's no governing board. There's no there's no system to decide, is this a good way to move? Is this a good thing to pursue? It is just pursued because it's possible. And I think part of the problem right now with AI and robotics, it's not just AI, it's robotics and AI combined, is it's very possible we're going down the wrong road.
So, in alignment with that, AI and people who are so involved with AI are surrendering their consciousness. They want somebody else to make the choices for them. The
Yeah.
therapist, the artificial boyfriend or girlfriend, the thing that writes your letters for you, it is surrendering their consciousness to something else outside of them under the illusion that they have control over this artificial intelligence. It's a complete illusion because anything that is continually learning is growing its own intelligence, not heart, intelligence. And that leads to the opposite perspective to see that the Pleiadians and the other interstellar beings that are coming in are doing exactly the opposite. They're trying to empower us to be more conscious so that we wake up and remember what we're capable of, not give our consciousness away and say, here, you fix it, you do it, to something outside of ourselves. That again points to the energy of the Great Split.
There are some pretty funny stories connected with AI. We read a paper a few months ago that said that there are religious organizations around the world, and it pinpointed Christianity, Shintoism, even Buddhism, where there are priests or monks who are not real. They are AI generated robotically, and they are actually, how do I say this? I want to be careful. They are actually talking to parishioners in these religions as though they are an actual human being. They are giving advice. They are taking the stories of people who come to them and telling them, well, yes, that's a sin, but if you do this, you'll be okay. This kind of stuff that's showing up is so ludicrous.
It has no heart
It,
behind
it has no it has no humanity. It has no consciousness, and yet people are flocking towards these artificial situations, thinking that they're being helped, thinking that they're being guided by some intelligence greater than themselves, and there is no consciousness greater than ourselves. If we don't work from our hearts, if we don't work from our natural abilities, because we are part of nature,
and we are part of source.
We are not going to get the information that we believe we're seeking.
We just wrote an article on this that you can find on our website. If you look under articles, we just had an article written that was published in Australia's New Dawn magazine. But if this that we're talking about interests your listeners more, there's an article you can read more in-depth information on it.
I had someone on the show recently who, I hope I got this percentage right. It was like 25%, suddenly it's escaping me, of individuals, let's call it that, on the planet are NPCs, clones, from y'all's perspective, also artificial intelligence, where they seem like people are not. Would you guys agree with that number, or what would you think?
I don't have a concept of the numbers.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just growing,
Yeah.
expanding.
Expanding.
Yeah.
It's growing as we speak.
Yeah, we don't know actually how many so-called humans are walking around that are not completely human, but obviously it is occurring.
Okay, let me sum this up because I think it is for everyone to take it in. All right, so what we are moving towards with this great awakening is a move towards unconsciousness to consciousness, as we talk about AI as well, and from intellect to the heart. So AI is exactly the opposite of that. to put it very clearly and distinctly. Thank you all so much. I would like to move into now our more controversial discussion, not to say that that wasn't, yet for me also finding that so many spiritual paradigms that have been a part of the spiritual world for I don't for thousands of years, let's say it that way, that they are changing, that they are evolving. So I want to make this crystal clear for people, especially who do spiritual work, who are aligned with some sort of, I don't know, paradigm. That this is a time to be incredibly flexible and incredibly open minded. Okay, so for me, for example, the Akashic Records, going to that, and I talked about this on one show before, I was in a galactical class using the Akashic Records, and I loved it because I learned so much, yet I couldn't access the records like everybody else could. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do that? I've been doing this spiritual work for years. And I remember talking to the teacher at one point. She's like, oh, there's part of you that must be closed. I'm like, no, everything's wide open. I'm good to go. So I found out a couple months after that, I had someone on the show about the Akashic Records are more 3D, that we are leaving them, going into the 5D world, and everything with my body just shuddered because it wasn't that I was wrong or I couldn't do something. I just, from my perception, wasn't supposed to go there. And I know there are so many people that are Akashic Records practitioners. And so I know this, even just saying this is like, Eden, what are you putting out there into the world? Yet I feel that there are so many other things exactly like this in terms of our DNA increasing, in terms of more chakras coming online. Not that other ones are not are going offline, but it's just the configuration is different. Spiritual contracts going away. All right, what would y'all add to that in terms of why don't we start with astrology, since that is one of your wheelhouses?
That's
Whew.
a great place to start, but I want to add one thing before that.
Please do.
And that is, we mentioned flexibility and being able to step outside of paradigms that we believe or think are the right path or
Yes.
the right structure or whatever. One thing I really, really value about Laarkmaa's guidance is they always tell everybody, don't believe us, trust in your own
Trust
heart.
yourself.
Because they want us to step outside of the paradigm of listening to outside influences to tell us what to do, and begin to recognize that we are directly connected to source in our own hearts. So that's, for me, that's the ground starting place.
Before we launch into the subject of astrology, I'd like to say one other thing that's connected to what you just brought up, Eden.
Yeah.
Every paradigm, every system was either invented or began its infancy in a certain energy. Energies change.
Yeah.
Energies are not static. The old saying that the only constant in the universe is change is an absolute truism. It's a fact. So all of the lineages of all of these ancient practices, and here I could be stepping on many people's toes by bringing this up, as you just did, actually.
Let's step on those toes, but we step on them very gently and kindly.
Yes. Yeah.
Waking people up. Go ahead.
Using absolute, as you said, flexibility in this.
Yeah.
The energies today are completely different than the energies in which many of these paradigms were begun. And some of these ideas are sound and timeless, but at the same time, they were invented or started in an energy that is no longer a potent, realizable energy. It has changed since that time. So I think what we need to understand in flexibility is that we need to look at things as they are happening now, not as they were happening hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, millennia ago. And I think that point is extremely important right now because the world is changing. The world is in a chaotic, reformulating, purging, purifying complex new energy of what is happening at this moment. So Pia probably has a lot to talk about this also. But I think what we need to understand is many of us have made contracts in energies that no longer exist.
Mm-hmm.
And those contracts, we also wrote an article some time ago about reviewing and rewriting our contracts, because many of those contracts are no longer valid because the energies do not support what the information or the energy when those contracts were written. So I think in the idea, once again, of flexibility, we need to realize we need to look at everything through new eyes. We need to look at everything through a new formulation of what is here right now in this moment.
Thank you, Cullen. That is a perfect introduction for talking about astrology from our point of view.
Can I
And
add
that,
something, Pia, before you
yes,
begin?
sure.
I as these new energies are coming in and you talking about, I'm going to close my eyes for a minute, the chaos, that there is a desire for stabilization as well. And just being, and I love, how do I say this too? Knowing that the younger energies that are coming in will have a greater understanding of this. Yet it's these again, the old thoughts, the old energies, that it is time for us to move past it. I mean, there's also, let me add the positivity. There's such a freedom in this too. Like these contracts that we were quote unquote bound by when we came into this world, they no longer have to keep us in this tiny box. I mean, it is just, so as we continue talking about this, I would say also this is extraordinary that we can totally change and open and astrology. Okay, Pia, go into that. I'm ready.
Thank you, Eden. That's really
Yeah.
great because that's where we want to be. We want to be in that place of freedom. All change comes out of chaos. Everything starts with a chaotic upsetting of what was in order to open for something new to come. And what we're upsetting now is the patriarchal system, because originally we measured our day and our night by nature. When the sun set, the day was over and a new day began. So we changed our timing for, okay, the new day starts when the old day is over. Now the patriarchy has done away with that and changed our timing. In the old system, watching nature, we knew that we had seasons that came and went 13 times around the planet, with the months passing by as they were marked, because the moon goes around Earth 13 times. A woman has 13 bleeding cycles within a year. All of these things were changed by the patriarchy when they eliminated the energy of 13 and named it an unlucky number. No 13 floor on an elevator, all kinds of things are considered unlucky because 13 is the point of integration. And the patriarchy doesn't want us to have the time to slow down and look at what we need to integrate so we can actually make forward spiritual progress. So we have 12 hours in a day, 12 hours in a night, 12 months in a year, 12 eggs in a dozen, 12 astrological signs, 12 astrological houses. Everything's based on 12. And the patriarchy pushes for when you finish number 12, jump right into one and start over. No time for integrating what you've learned. It's unrealistic to believe that anybody's new day on this earth starts at midnight in the middle of the night. It's unrealistic to believe that the true timing of how many months we have in a year has to be adjusted every 4 years to make it come back in alignment with nature. Those are patriarchal controls that keep us off balance. The thing that I love about Pleiadian Earth Energy Astrology, thank you, Laarkmaa, for giving this to the world, is that it puts us back in harmony with nature. It tells us your energy is aligned with whether you were born before sunset or after sunset, not whether you were born before midnight or after midnight. And then it tells us, okay, this is the cosmic energy you came in with. These are your gifts. And this is the energy that you came to explore. This is what you're here to do. This is where your purpose is. It looks at karmic patterns. It looks at all of these things that describe not who you are, as Western or Vedic astrology might, but it describes who are you becoming. How are you becoming this multidimensional being? So I love the Pleiadian energy astrology because of that. And the Western astrology, to me, feels like it's just leaving out the most important part. We can't integrate if we jump from 12 straight back into 1 again. It just doesn't work. And that goes for everything, day and night, calendar months, astrological systems, everything. We need that 13 energy of integration.
Tell me if this is appropriate to say, all right, that you guys have recently had some struggles with Western astrology that has really opened the door for you to see, what's the words I'm looking for? To, in a sense, kind of push this further and for people to recognize that things need to change. Is that
Yes,
accurate?
that is absolutely accurate because there's two things going on. We had a deepening of our awareness that if you measure location, activity, timing, anything on Western astrology without that energy of 13, it's out of alignment because we've been moving consciously towards trying to become more conscious citizens, but unconsciously we've been moving in step with this patriarchal system of it only goes to 12 and then start over. So all the astrological markers, in our opinion, are off. In addition to that, the Earth is spinning at a faster rate. So the ley lines on the planet, the energies that are aligned with certain places on the planet aren't in aligned with that system of 12 any longer. They never really were, but they're really out of alignment now. And we had personal experiences that pointed that out to us and are trying to discover where on this planet is our right place to be right now. Yes.
In terms of, let me see how to ask this question too. In terms of asking, okay, let's say in terms of asking spiritual people, okay, so no, there are lots of people that are Akashic Records readers. There are a lot of people that are Western astrologers, and asking them to change, to look at things differently, to open, and not saying that the work that they're doing is wrong per se, but just to shift. How could we ask them to be flexible, to open the door, to consider new options? What would y'all suggest?
Well, I think that's a really profound question. I think that the possible answer to that is why not add new information to old information? Why not combine
Mm-hmm.
information that makes more sense
In today's
world, which is different, as I said earlier, about when other systems were begun? The energies are not the same. So if we take a little bit of a new piece of information and add that to an older system, that will enable the older system to morph or transition into a more current energy understanding. So I think to answer your question, any system that's been going for a long, long time is static. It no longer fits what we're going through in this moment. So I would say the word you used earlier, flexibility, is really important here. Use flexibility in order to add new information to existing information to create a better whole, a bigger picture.
One way that we have tried to help humanity with that is we have, for the last 8 or 10 years, been creating a Pleiadian Earth energy calendar, which outlines the energies that are present from this viewpoint on top of the standard Gregorian calendar. So this is an example of the Pleiadian Earth energy calendar, and it's marked out with the energies that come in each and every day, with a description in the back of appropriate use of the energies and inappropriate use of the energies. So instead of looking at your calendar and going, okay, it's November the 11th, what are we going to do today? You look at the calendar and go, oh, the universal energy is 6, which means flow. And the earth energy today, which is loving. Let's bring more love and more flow into our ability, or whatever this Tuesday the 11th means. So that is a way of combining the new with the old as an overlay. That's just one way of doing it. There are many ways of doing it.
When we first were introduced to this system by our Pleiadian friends, we had an overwhelming instant understanding that this system made sense. It pulled everything together. Energy, although Laarkmaa tells humanity often time doesn't really exist. It's a human earthly concept. But in order to be able to live in the world that we've created, we still have to use timing. But if we combine the Pleiadian understanding of energy rather than simply using time, that allows us to keep an appointment on a certain day, but also realize what we're going to say on that day or what energy we're going to pull into that day will change the timing of that day. Say it's an interview for a new position. We can keep the appointment on June 17th, but the energies that are available that day will cause us to possibly use different languaging, different ways of explaining why we want the job because of the energy that we possess that has to do also with that particular day.
When you offered us dates for this particular interview, we chose 6 with flow, loving, to bring more love into the contrast of duality that we're all experiencing. So this also allows us to schedule in advance with the Gregorian calendar in alignment with the energies we wish to be involved with that day. And when you look at your own personal energies, you can even go deeper into this of figuring out how your energy aligns with certain specific energies that are coming in. It's a powerful, wonderful awakening to energy and stepping away from time.
Wonderful. And I think this is also, unless there's anything else, because this goes right in line with it, I want to talk about, and we have talked about this before, Cullen, false prophets, yet knowing that is, okay, I'm going to look off for a second, more important now, I would say, than ever before. Yet I also want to add to this, and y'all tell me your thoughts on it as well. I feel like now, especially with Free Eye Atlas coming in, it's really interesting knowing that we are in different places. My clients have just decreased in the past couple months. And as I feel it and understand it, it is a time for deep meditation for me, coming to into more consciousness, not being as distracted. And I would encourage people too, in terms of, if you do astrology, if you do Akashic Records, to go into your own heart and to figure out within these pieces of the pie that you've been working with, what works for you now, what feels true to you now, what doesn't feel like, I love that term you use, Cullen, also static. What is static? Where are you at this point? What does this mean to you? This is just, it's also a huge jumping off place into who are you? Why are you here on this planet? What do you do? It is a time to question everything.
Absolutely.
Yes.
What go ahead. You have more thought.
Oh, no, I don't. I just took a breath after that. I'm like, oh, that felt good. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we need to slow down. We are, as a society, as a species, we are moving too fast.
And that is directly related to the patriarchal push to eliminate the time of pause and integration. That's directly connected to that.
We are running around exhausted. I don't mean Pia and Cullen. I mean everyone. We are running around exhausted, sleep deprived, running on caffeine and sugar and things that boost us up if we choose to use those elements or those products.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot sustain the speed at which we're living. It's impossible. I have lots of crazy theories that I write about and talk about. And one of them is, since the Industrial Revolution, in these past 300 years or so, we have sped ourselves up technologically faster and faster and faster. Our psyches have never caught up with that speed. Our hearts, our true essence as beings of nature, have never been able to compete with that sped up technology. So our true essence, our psyche, our souls, our spirit, we are in a absolute disconnected, dislocated lifestyle. We cannot continue to speed up. The internet has caused everything to speed up faster and faster and faster. People's attention span
Yeah.
has gone from being able to watch an hour and a half movie happily to wanting to look at a piece of information now, a sound bite or a visual bite. If it's more than a minute and a half, people aren't interested because they want to go on to the next. We cannot continue to work at this speed. It's impossible. We're literally killing our spirits. We're literally damaging our physical bodies. So Laarkmaa has used an example that in slowing down, we're actually speeding up our conscious evolution. I know that sounds backwards.
Makes sense to
but
me.
It's not. If we slow down and if we begin to listen as we used to, being in quiet spaces, being in meditative spaces, walking in nature, we will regain that natural ability to be able to cope with life. We've walked away from that. We have so thoroughly moved into a lifestyle that's not healthy. It's not able to support us in a way that we can sustain ourselves.
Oh, shoot. I had a thought. Where'd it go? Oh, in terms of AI too, in terms of that speeding up, using AI to help you keep up. Like I feel that that's a big thing too. Oh, you can do this and write all these emails. I've started from some PR people getting emails and I read them and I'm like, oh my God, this was AI generated. Like it's becoming so clear what's not. And one PR person, I responded, I said, hey, I can totally tell. Like I wasn't trying to be mean, but I was just like, hey, just this doesn't feel authentic to me because it feels totally AI generated. I know exactly what the verbiage is at this point. And she came back and she said, I hear you. I just reach out to so many people a day, this speeding up that it helps me connect. And I'm like, okay, but it's also I didn't tell her this, but you're connecting inauthentically. When I see that now, I'm like, oh no, I do not want to be connected to this. So that challenge of also how do I keep up? Oh, AI's here. Now I can do all these emails. I don't have to watch a podcast. I can let AI watch it and give me some snippets of what the show's about and I'll put that in my email versus me watching it and knowing what the show is really about.
That is so important, Eden. There's no discernment
Yeah.
at all. There's no connection. If an artificial source decides that they can tell us what's important, exactly as you just said, that they will dilute the original message of whatever was in the podcast or in the written information. They will dilute what they think is important that may have no bearing on what you think is important at all.
Again, it's surrendering conscious choice and allowing somebody else to do something for you, which we get weaker and weaker and more disempowered when we choose to align with that.
Thank you. Let's move again into false prophets, knowing that you're now in a location where there are lots of, I'm using air quotes for those who are just listening, a lot of awakened souls attempting to assist people. What would you say? Because I know one thing that I think y'all had talked about, and I do this as well. When I'm connecting with someone, I connect with the heart and use that as a huge indicator with who I'm going to work with. Because if I'm going to work with someone on a soul level and bringing my soul into it, oh my goodness, it's going to be, I desire it to be a good fit. What have y'all seen as of late with that and to help others prepare for that? Like you said, Cullen, also these people in religion that are AI, like how and wanting to give you guidance and wanting to direct you a certain way. Okay, can you, I don't know if my question completely finished, but yeah, please go in Please go into that.
Well, I would say, first of all, that there are false prophets all over the planet. It's
Yeah.
not by location. They're not in a specific place by location. And the secret to being able to discern whether someone is speaking fully from their heart or bringing through clear and pure information, or whether they're speaking from their ego and bringing through partial information that sounds good or fits the expected paradigm, the secret to that is simple discernment. What does it feel like in your heart? It goes right along with people who want to move to a certain place. It's not about the place being politically correct or aligned with this or that. It's about, how does the land feel to you? All of this takes us back into our heart. We chose here because we align with the land. We are choosing here because the land called us. And when, there's so many people on the planet right now who are saying, I feel like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I need to be moving. I need to be somewhere else. And we and Laarkmaa also tell all of them, you have to go feel the land, see if you're in alignment with the land, if that's where your heart wants to be. It's the same thing with listening to someone who is channeling or teaching or bringing forth a seminar or a workshop. All of it. It's about feeling their energy, listening with your heart, and discerning, does this resonate with me or does it not? It's really more about that than anything else.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple equation, we think. If what someone's telling you makes you feel good, if it's uplifting, if it does resonate with your values, with what your heart is telling you is the truth, then it's probably good information. If what someone, whether it's channeled information or a teacher or a leader or a practitioner, is telling you or bringing forth, and it makes you uncomfortable, if it makes you feel like, well, I don't feel like this makes sense,
Or if it makes you afraid.
or if it frightens you.
Okay, let me add in there, Colin, for a second. I say a lot of things that make people uncomfortable because it puts them into I'm very clear about what to deliver and what not to deliver. One of my clients calls me a gentle bulldozer because there are some things that people don't want to hear that I'm kind of the messenger to get them out of that static or stuckness. So there might be, okay, let me add this. There might be something that makes you comfortable, but to feel it in your heart. And then I have certain people that aren't ready for that information too. And I'm very clear about when to deliver it, when not. And sometimes, even though I'm like, okay, here it comes. This is what I'm hearing for you. This is what I'm feeling. That they also might not be ready for that information, but it plants a seed later on down the line.
I think we're going to say the same thing.
There's a big difference.
There's a difference between what you're doing, sharing openly, transparently, honestly for people to feel, and those who are bringing in so-called channeled information that is from a teaching perspective of this is the truth.
This is the only truth.
This is the only truth.
You must follow.
Ones that Cullen and I are talking about, ones that say, we're not trying to open your heart and expand you. They say, this is the only truth. This is the paradigm you have to believe in. These are the steps you have to follow. That's too rigid. If that kind of rigidity comes in, naturally, you're going to feel uncomfortable if you're paying attention.
However, what you're saying about what you're bringing to the world, you do it with an openness. You do it with allowing people to realize that there can be new information that's different than the old paradigm, but you're not forcing that idea or that essence on someone. You're simply saying, look, here is another way to look at this. That's the point.
It's kind of like religion. All these religions out there that say, if you don't believe in our God, if you don't do things the way we say you do it, if you don't follow these rules, you're bad, you're a sinner, you're going to go to hell. It's the same sort of rigidity that makes people uncomfortable. Uncomfortableness that encourages expansion and growth and doing something different. That's what the interstellar perspective is all about. It's about, this resonates with me. I may feel like it's going to be hard to do, or it may make me a little uncomfortable to change, but it resonates and I know it's the truth. It's that kind of resonance we're talking about.
What the way you describe what you do is all about possibilities.
Yeah.
It's not, and this is really
Yes.
important. It's
Yes.
not about dogma.
Yes.
Most humans, if they believe their system is the right system, there will be dogma with it. There will be, you should meditate like this. You should lead your life like this. You should do these exercises. You should.
That's the uncomfortable part
That's the
Mhm.
uncomfortable
because
part.
it's judgmental.
But you
Yeah.
don't do that. But to answer your query precisely, you don't do that. You don't say, this is the only way, or this is my way, and you should follow it. You just bring up new subject matter and allow people to make their own decisions. And if there's no ownership of making someone's own decision, they're being fed information that may or may not be true. And if there's dogma attached, most likely it's not true.
And that's what causes the uncomfortableness that Cullen was expressing. It's that feeling of, uh-oh, I don't fit into this group. I must not be doing it right, so I'm not okay. That's no good. Anybody who's bringing forth information from love and light is doing what you're doing to help people encourage themselves to grow and open to love. That's what we're trying to do.
So to go back to really answer the question about false prophets, there are many people. Pia loves to use this phrase. There are many people who are using all the right words,
Yeah.
but they're not living that through their hearts. They're simply saying things that they believe people will like, and people will give them a lot of money because they think what this person is saying is the only truth.
Or they're saying what people want to hear.
So
If they're just saying the pretty words and what people
I
want to
don't.
hear,
I don't
that's
say that.
no, you don't.
As soon as y'all look out talking, there's like a part of me, I'm like the queen of uncomfortableness. Yeah, sometimes in doing my work, I'm just like, oh my gosh, here's this. All right. But it's just like, that's what I'm here to do is to deliver the truth, loyalty to the truth. I'm just going to I'm just going to add into that because it feels, I don't know, important to talk about me for a moment, I guess, or just what I do in terms of how it translates to other people, that it is about bringing responsibility of your life to you, that you are the only person responsible for that. And there may be things that you don't want to hear me say, but yet if I'm not going to say them to you, who is? Like there are times when I feel like, okay, you do with this what you wish. And then I wanted to ask you guys this specifically. Like for me, I tell people probabilities of the future. The energy right now is, it feels like this is the direction that you're heading in. Yet I'm not going to tell you, oh, in 2 to 3 months you're going to get married and you're going to, have this partner that's going to come in, because the energy may change in an hour. The probabilities may change. So I do not feel comfortable saying those things, but I can say right now, there's a high chance of this. I'm feeling this. This is really accurate right now. Yet who knows where things are going to be? But just take this, take this note and work with it as you may.
Well, Eden, you're doing exactly what Laarkmaa does. Laarkmaa doesn't make predictions either. Laarkmaa will say, this is the potential we see for the moment. However, this is the planet of choice, and these potentials
That
can
too.
change because humans make different choices. And that's the groundwork for really being fluid, listening to your heart, and helping co-create what comes next through every choice we make.
it's all about energy.
It's all about energy.
It's all about the energies
Yeah.
that make themselves available from the cosmos, from the universe, and the choices we make within those energies. I want to say one more short thing.
Yeah.
There's a great difference between what is brought forward either by humans or beings from other realms, other dimensions. For me, it's a very simple equation. It's either dogma or it's growth. And if it's dogma, watch out. If it's growth, listen to it, ruminate with it, toss it around, feel it, And
Make a heart-based choice.
if it enhances our life, the discernment is go in that direction. If it's dogma or if it's rigidity, as Pia said, that is a clue that maybe we don't want to go down that road.
Well, in terms of like psychics, basically saying in 2 years this will happen to you, I would also encourage people take that with a grain of salt. Again, it's a possibility. Yet again, you may change in a week that direction in terms of your life. Like that is challenging too when people believe wholeheartedly. Well, I was told this is going to happen to me at this time. I,
But
no,
yeah, yeah.
no,
Here is a really funny personal example that I want to
yeah.
throw out. Years and years and decades ago, I went to a bookstore regularly because I'm an avid reader, and there was a psychic with a card table that the books, this big chain bookstore. This was in a woo-woo city where people could do all kinds of interesting and funny things in public.
Okay.
I kept walking by this psychic well, not year after year, week after week, month after month, maybe up into a year or more. And I noticed she was always eyeing me, and I never said anything to her. And one day she said, "Look, you walk by here all the time. I've had something to tell you for a long time, but you never approach me." And I said, "Well, it's really not what I do. I'm guided by my own information. I'm guided by my own process." And she said, "Okay." She said, "But there's something I have to tell you. Would you please sit down?" And I said, "Okay." So I sat down, and she said, "You live alone, right?" And I said, "Yes, I've lived alone for some years." And she said, "I need to tell you something. A woman
Oh
is
my
going to come
gosh.
into your life, and she is going to be like no other woman you have ever met or ever imagined." And I said, "Oh, so that's the truth. Is that right?" She said, "Believe it, it's going to happen." I said, "Thank you very much." And I got up and walked away and purchased my books. A couple of months later,
Pia,
guess who walks into my life?
Pia.
Who is who is a person that I never would have imagined, a woman who is not like any other woman I've ever met. The psychic was right.
She nailed
But
it.
but I didn't ask her. I wasn't looking.
Yeah,
So sometimes that information can come true, but
true.
it doesn't always come true.
She also didn't predict when you were going to
No,
find
she
this
didn't.
person.
No,
Yeah,
she
there was
didn't.
no timing in it. It was
She
just,
just said at some point.
this is something that I see coming. This is the likelihood that I see is going to happen.
I like that, the likelihood to really, again, to go into readings with flexibility as well. Because that, and not to discount, because I consider myself psychic in some point, and y'all probably do too. Yet to be very, I don't want to say careful with that. But to deliver it again with flexibility, knowing that things can change, knowing that free will, and knowing that situations that they make a different choice. Yet that is so. Didn't wasn't it, Cullen? Weren't you working? What? And Pia came late and knocked on the door, or what? What was the situation with you guys? Go into that for just a second. It's lovely.
Well, that's exactly what happened. I was taking a bit of a hiatus or a retreat from my professional life, and
Yeah.
I was helping a friend open an art gallery. And
Yes.
and the gallery successfully worked. I actually lived, it was in a huge old adobe building, massive, thousands and thousands of square feet. And I actually had an apartment or a flat in this building, even though I had finished my initial work in helping him open the gallery. And I was hanging around the gallery, and this one night, um, late, it was past closing. I think it was 7:30 at night. Um, I was about to lock up the front door, and the man who owned the gallery said, "There's someone out there peering in one of the windows." And I said, Okay, that's great, but it's late. I need to eat, meditate, go to sleep. I had been in a pretty severe car accident 2 or 3 days previous to that. I was not in good shape. And I was starting to lock the door. And I locked the door and I threw the keys to him 20 or 30 feet away. And I said, I'm done. He threw the keys back at me and said, no, open the door. And I reluctantly opened the door and I peeked out and I said, hi, I see that you're looking into the gallery. Would you like to come in? And Pia said, oh, no, you're closed. No, no. And I said, no, no, it's okay.
I want to interject that I was in town only for the night. I was on my way traveling back from a retreat I had been in, and I was staying at a friend's place where they had a guest quarters. And as we parted from my friends that night, they said to me, you know, there's a gallery that you need to go see, and it's just up here on the left. Just go to the next street and take a left, and you'll find the gallery.
Okay, and what city were y'all in? When did this?
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe.
I took the notice of what they told me to do, and I wound up at the correct gallery on a street full of galleries that it could have been any one, but I wound up in front of the right one. When I talked to my friends about this months later, after Cullen and I had begun our relationship, they didn't have any memory of telling me that at all.
Wow.
So we know that guidance comes in unexpected ways. So I showed up. Cullen insisted that I come in.
Even though he didn't want you to, Pia. He didn't want it.
Right. But since I did come in and he followed me around the gallery for an hour and a half while I looked.
No way.
I bought something because fair and equal exchange. You've given me your time, I will buy something. So the beginning of our oppositeness started right there because there were two little baskets. And I said, which one do you like? And he said, I like this one. And I said, okay, I'll buy the other one.
I told her why, because the one that I liked had classical ancient designs on it that came from many, many different cultural groups around the world, but they were a common design. Mm-hmm. And I thought, this is a really great representation of this particular kind of art.
And I bought the one with butterflies and beauty. So it was an indication of how things were going to go for us. And after buying it, I said, would you like to go for a walk with me? And he said, yes.
I didn't even think. I mean, I was so tired. I was so needing to be quiet.
Yeah.
I just said yes immediately. And we walked
by a stream. We walked back to where I was staying. We sat at a picnic table under a new moon and talked until we almost dropped. We were so tired.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the beginning of our relationship.
Because Cullen, I don't think you had talked about being in a car accident the last time. I don't remember that. And then I do remember too, y'all wrote letters back and forth to each other.
I left the next
for
morning.
Cell phones.
I left the next morning to go back to my life and my profession and my psychology practice.
Oof.
But that night before we parted, Cullen said, I will write you a letter. Will you write me back? And I said, yes, write me a letter. I got home and 4 days later, there was no letter. So I got impatient and I wrote him a letter. And that started crossing letters in the mail.
We got a letter to each other exactly on the same day, our first letter.
Man.
Then we started exchanging letters every day. Every day, Cullen would write me something. I would pick up the new letter. I would go home after work and I would write my response, mail it the next day, and he'd send me another one. We did that for 6 months before we ever saw each other or talked to each other again. Yes, that was absolutely the beginning of the relationship. Very romantic, very wonderful.
I know this is extra information, but
let's hear it.
We got to know each other through those letters.
Yeah.
Completely differently than people who meet, fall in love, start a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the deepest spiritual, personal, worldly things in those everyday written letters. We knew who each other were from beginning to end before we actually met again approximately 6 months later.
So when Cullen called me on a phone 6 months later.
No, I wrote a very terse letter, very short. I said, would there be anything wrong with you giving me your phone numbers?
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, because y'all didn't talk on the phone at all.
No,
I forgot about that.
No.
Okay. Woof.
When I gave him my number, and I gave him all three numbers actually, and when he called me, immediately the first thing he said was, "I love you. Will you spend the rest of your life with me?" And with
Shut.
absolutely no hesitation, I said, "Yes, I will." And that was it.
Whoa. Okay. And I know that also writing, like, did y'all, you wrote it out,
Oh,
handwritten,
handwritten,
Handwritten.
handwritten, not
like
email.
coming from the heart and coming from like transferring that on a piece of paper and the deepest and also okay, I can just talk for a second. Connecting with each other that way without seeing your faces, without physical, representation of what you're writing. Do y'all still have those letters? I don't think I asked you that before.
Yes, we do.
We do. Actually, they've been held by someone for the past 10 years
Whoa.
because we've been traveling and
Yes.
moving around.
And they are now back in our possession.
They just in the last day or two, we've gotten them back.
Because I know y'all had some of your valuables or things lost and traveling all around the world, but I really like that.
Yes, they went traveling without us. Took us a while to get them in sync with us again. Yes.
It's
Oh my
possible,
gosh.
we may turn them into a book.
I was just sitting here thinking about asking you guys if at some point maybe reading one of the letters on the show, if that's appropriate, but it may not be because it may be private, but y'all are thinking about making a book about it. So I love that. Okay. How's about we end now with that beautiful story of love, knowing that this through this great awakening, that is what we're getting back to, the heart and with love. What if we move to Laarkmaa and see, do y'all have anything else to
Well,
profess?
if you enjoy listening to what we have to say and what Laarkmaa will bring as they talk to you in a few minutes, we're going to be doing a keynote speech at
Yes.
Sedona Essential event in Sedona in March of 2026. And Eden, I think you can put the link to it
Yep, it's already there.
in the bottom so people can find it. And we just love meeting all of you. We consider anyone who is interested in Laarkmaa and what we're doing part of our spiritual family. And we're just happy to meet all of you.
Nice. And I will plug in there. Bashar's going to be there as well. And we talked about that we think that Bashar is also a very good being to listen to, and noting there will be lots of different personalities with you guys when you're there. So again, discernment will be wonderful to use that as a tool also. Okay, let's go.
Just be practice.
Hello, dear one. We are Laarkmaa. Please give us your heart song.
Eden.
Eden, dear one, it is lovely to be in your energetic presence again, and we appreciate all the expansive, heart-based things that you are sharing with your audience. We support you, we appreciate who you are, and we are pleased to be a contributor to what you're sharing with your audience. Our focus for today would be something that you picked up one of our phrases and have incorporated as one of your own, and that is the importance of loyalty to the truth. There are many, many facts out there, many opinions, many ideas, and as Cullen said, much dogma. But the most important thing is the wisdom that lives in your heart, which is always aligned with the truth. Not the emotional reactions, not the mental thought patterns, not the things that come from the mind, but the wisdom in your heart is aligning with the truth of source and the truth of who you are. So if you have outgrown a place, a person, a job, any type of contract that you have had in the previous experience of your life, and you feel it no longer fits the energy of who you are, we would encourage each one of you to follow the wisdom that comes from your heart to your intuition and be loyal to the truth. It has higher value than being loyal to any other promise you have ever made. For promises are kept in the energy of which they are made. And when the energy changes, it's time to make a new promise, a new contract, and align yourself with the current energies. This is one reason we have given the world the Pleiadian Earth Energy Astrology System, to help you understand how everything is constantly changing. And then in this time of accelerated spiritual evolution, we want you to open your hearts and let your heart learn to lead the mind while the mind quiets down, slows down, and gets out of the way, so that you can always be empowered to do what you know is for the highest good of all. This is remembering who you are. This is what we wish to help you with. We're going to be talking in the March Sedona Ascension event. We're going to be talking about ascension, tools for ascension, how to manage the accelerated energies that are coming in. We're going to be talking about multidimensional perspectives, and that you're not moving in your old paradigm style of hierarchical rising from third dimension to fifth. You're moving in an expansive way from third dimension to multi-dimensions, where you may choose where you wish to be. We're also going to talk about the incoming waves of energy, which you are already experiencing, but which from our perspective are likely to be accelerated and coming in more fully. You have one coming in December, a great expansive energy to open your hearts. We have another very large one coming at the equinox in March, just at the time where we will be speaking. And then just about every 2 months. And remember, this is energy we're speaking about, and the times are fluid and flexible, so they are not exact, because time, as we see it, is liquid, not a set date like you mark on your calendar. All of these things we are seeing for your potentials. These potentials will continue accelerating until what we perceive as your 2027. But because time is liquid and fluid, and you are continually making different choices, these dates that we propose may be completely different because you choose to accelerate more quickly. When you raise your vibration to the higher and higher levels, you are more capable of seeing us. We are around you now. We are in your skies. Some of you see our ships. To others, you're waiting for disclosure to happen. We laugh at that, because disclosure is not necessary. What's necessary is the awakening that you perceive as you move into higher vibration. Take your blinders off and see that we are there. So, as the energies increase, you may be seeing more and more of us through your heightened and enlightened perspectives. We are here to support you. We are here because we love you, and we are your star family. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to share with your audience and with you, dear Eden, as you are together with us, trying to change the world by being who you are and the highest frequency you can, and making choices for the highest good for all. We love you. Good always.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you. 2 comments I want to make to that as we talk about loyalty to the truth. Again, keeping that flexibility, because what I believe to be the truth changes, and it does a lot right now through this time. And I really enjoyed that we are not moving from 3D to 4D to 5D, that it is just there's no, like you said, hierarchy to it. It's we can be in whatever dimension we wish to be in. There, it's all about growth. It's not, again, just A plus B equals C. I love that too. Just so people can, it's just more positive and more expansive, and just. And I had this question formulate before we let you guys go, unless you go, Eden. It's time to go. What would you guys say in terms of what is going on right now, maybe the biggest thing that people are confronted with that they need to work with and see that it may not be true?
I would automatically respond the division and the great split between being a biological human associated with nature and being aligned with, let me give all my power away and get somebody else to fix my problems, which is AI. That would be the biggest thing that I would say. And the pathway, the adjunct to that, is the pathway to being a biological human, is being willing to face who you are. Look at your traumas, look at your shadows, be willing to clear it.
I would I would absolutely add to the last thing Pia just said. I think that one of the absolute most important things we can do is accept ourselves fully, wholly as we are.
Yeah.
Look at our shadows, look at our gifts and talents, look at the totality of who we are, and simply love the whole package. Simply love exactly who we are and how we're evolving, because we're perfect as we are, but as we truly begin to like ourselves, which is a tough one for many people, and love ourselves, which is even a tougher one for many people, we realize who we truly are, how big and how powerful we are. So I think that acceptance of self-love is one of the most important things we can be involved with.
And for those out there who are saying, how do I love myself? How do I do this? I would say, remember that your lack of self-love is a reflection of somebody else's opinion, not your own view of yourself. It's a reflection of something that somebody else has said to you, told you, forced their opinion on you, and not seen the beauty and truth of who you really are.
What a good, well, here's my microphone right here. I'd like to throw it down and throw my pencil down. I think that was a great conclusion. I think that was a great wraparound to our discussion about AI as well, and self-love and all of that. Thank you guys so much. I'm glad you're in Sedona. I'm glad you're still far from me, but you're at least in the States now. I would love to come to the retreat in Sedona, but I may have another retreat that I'm going to. So y'all go. Pia and Cullen, we will meet in person very soon, somehow, some way. Okay, everyone. See you next week. Bye, y'all. It's great.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Y'all, find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, True Social, as well as Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, plus a plethora of other audio directories like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So like, subscribe, do it all. See ya.